In this video, we'll be covering Chapter 8, Section 7, the cost of home ownership. A mortgage is a long-term installment loan for buying a home. The down payment is the amount that the buyer will put down towards the home, which is usually the percent of a home purchase price. Your amount of the loan will be the purchase price minus that down payment. There are two types of interest rates. A fixed rate mortgage will give you the same monthly principal and interest during the entire length of the loan. In other words, you pay the exact same amount every month for the length of the loan. A variable rate mortgage is an adjustable rate, where payments are going to change from time to time depending on the interest rate. Points are a one-time charge that equals 1% of the loan amount. Our loan payment will be calculated using the exact same formula that we used in the previous section. Let's look at an example. A $175,500 mortgage was financed with a 30-year fixed rate of 7.5. The total interest paid over 30 years is approximately $266,220. Part A. Use the loan payment formula for installments loans to find the monthly payment if the time of the mortgage is reduced to 15 years. We're going to round to the nearest dollar. So here we're using the exact same formula to calculate our payment. Our P is going to be the amount that we financed, which is $175,500. Our rate is 7.5%. Since we're paying monthly, N will equal to 12. And T, in this case, will be 15 years. Let's go ahead and plug this into the calculator. Remember, when we're doing this all together, you want to include one parentheses for the numerator. 175,500 times 7.5% divided by 12. Again, since there are no addition and subtraction, we can put this all in just using one set of parentheses. I'm going to go ahead and divide it and open a new set for the denominator. That's the brackets here. 1 minus parentheses 1 plus 7.5% divided by 12. I'm raising that, and again for the exponents you need to include these into another set of parentheses. A negative 12 times 15. I'm going to close the set for the exponents, and then I'm going to add the extra set for the denominator. I'm going to get a payment of $1,626.91. Here it says to round to the nearest dollar, so I'm going to use $1,627. Part B says find the total interest paid over 15 years. If our payment is $1,627 and we pay that every month, which is 12 times in a year, for 15 years, we would have paid a total of $292,860. Since the amount of our loan was $175,500, we would subtract and get our interest of $117,360. Part C. How much interest is saved by reducing the mortgage from 30 years to 15 years? If our interest for our 30-year loan is $266,220 as stated in the problem here, we're going to subtract that by the interest we would pay if we had a 15-year loan, which is $117,360. The difference between these two is $148,860. So by cutting our time in half, we're reducing our loan by almost $150,000. Now let's look at our loan schedules. Although each payment is the same, with each successive payment, the interest portion decreases and the portion applied towards the payoff principal actually increases. The loan amortization schedule is a document showing how each payment is split between interest and principal. Example 2. Prepare a loan schedule for the first 2 months of the mortgage loan. We're going to round to the nearest cent. Here you can see that the annual rate will be 7%. The amount of the mortgage is $200,000. The number of payments is 240. This is going to be a 20-year loan. Our monthly payment is $1,550. When we start our first payment, we're going to calculate our interest and determine what our principal is. Then we're going to calculate our new balance of the loan. As you can see here, we're going to start by calculating the interest for the very first month. We are using our simple interest rate located here on your formula sheet. This was from section 8.3. Our principal is going to be $200,000. Our rate is still 7%. Our time in this case is going to be 1 out of 12. Since this is a monthly payment, we're breaking this up to a 12th of a year. So 200,000 times 7% times 1/12. When I press enter, I get an interest of $1,166.67. Remember, the 6 in the third decimal place is greater than 5, so we round our 6 up to a 7. Since this is the amount of interest we make, we're going to put this in the interest payment. Remember that our mortgage payment is fixed at $1,550. So I'm going to take $1,550 and I'm going to subtract the amount of interest that is paid. This gives me an amount of $383.33. This is the amount that is taken off your balance. So we're going to take the $200,000 and we're going to subtract the $383.33. So $200,000 minus $383.33. Our new principal balance is going to be $199,616.67. I've shown all of the work here. When we're calculating our interest for the second month, the only thing that has changed is our principal. We no longer owe $200,000. We now owe $199,616.67. The interest rate is still 7% and our time is still going to be 1 month out of 12. When we do this calculation, all I'm going to do is keep this into my calculator and times it by 7% times 1/12. When I press enter, I can see that my new interest is going to be $1,164.43. That's what I have here. So our interest paid is going to be $1,164.43. Since our monthly payment is still $1,550, I'm going to subtract the amount that was applied towards my interest, $1,164.43. When I press enter, I can see that my principal payment was $385.57. That is subtracted from our previous loan amount. So now I can take the $199,616.67 and subtract your principal of $385.57. Our new balance will be $199,231.10. I've shown the work here. Now let's determine what we can afford. When you're determining how much you can afford for a mortgage, you don't want to use more than 28% of your gross monthly income for your mortgage payment. You don't want to have more than 36% of your gross monthly income coming from your total debt. In other words, your mortgage, cars, credit card, student loans, and medical bills should be less than 36% of your gross monthly income. Let's look at this next example. Suppose that you have a gross annual income of $240,000. Part A. What is the maximum amount you should spend each month on a mortgage payment? First thing we want to do is go ahead and figure out what our monthly income is. Since we make $240,000 every year, we're going to divide that up into 12 payments. That means we make $20,000 in 1 month. Since we do not want more than 28% of our gross monthly income towards our monthly payment, we're going to take the $20,000 and multiply that by 28%. That means we shouldn't have a mortgage payment greater than $5,600. Part B, what is the maximum amount you should spend each month for your total credit obligations? So again, we're going to take our monthly income of $20,000, and remember here, it says here you do not want more than 36% of your monthly income going towards your total debt. So you're taking your $20,000 times 36%. So $20,000 times 36% is going to be $7,200. Part C. If your monthly mortgage payment is 90% of the maximum amount you can afford, what is the maximum amount that you should spend each month for all your other debt? So what I'm doing here is I'm taking the amount that I found in Part A, our maximum amount that we should spend on a mortgage payment, and I'm going to find what is 90% of that amount. So I'm going to do 90% times the $5,600. So 90% of our maximum amount, which is $5,600. And I'm going to find that I am spending $5,040 for my mortgage payment. Now, our total debt should not exceed $7,200. That was found in Part B. So how much in other debt could I have? Well, I'm going to start with the $7,200 and subtract my mortgage payment of $5,040. That means you should not have more than $2,160 for all your other combined debt. Now let's look at the benefits of renting and buying. The benefits of renting include there's no down payment or points required. You just have to put a security deposit down, which could be returned at the end of your lease. You are very mobile when you're renting. It doesn't tie up hundreds of thousands of dollars. It doesn't take up large portions of your total debt payments. You can possibly lower your monthly expenses. Possible amenities like a pool, courts, or health clubs are provided when you're renting. There's no repair, maintenance, and groundkeeping needed when you're renting. You have no property tax. And if you're renting for less than 3 years, it costs less than buying a home. The benefits of home ownership. There's stability and peace of mind when you own your own home. You also have tax advantages, no increase in rent over time, and you have the freedom to remodel. You can build equity, potential sources of cash in form of an equity loan. In 7 years' time, home ownership is less than renting. This concludes Chapter 8, Section 7 on home ownership. Please let me know if you have any questions.